Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. 2 stars. 1 mall. 0 frames together but a million hearts racing. What happens when 2 of China's biggest names, Yang and Zhao Lusi, are spotted at the same place at the same time but never cross paths? Was it fate? Was it planned? Or was it just another ordinary day that fans turned into magic? Well, not if you ask the internet. Welcome to Update X24H, where we bring you the stories behind the stories, and the moments that speak louder than words. It began on what seemed like an ordinary weekday afternoon at Moonlight Garden Mall, an elegant, modern space tucked in the heart of the city, where celebrities often pass quietly between luxury storefronts and exclusive events. That day, no one expected what would unfold. Not a dramatic confrontation, not a red carpet premiere, but something far more subtle, and perhaps more powerful. Around 2:15 p.m. Yang, the ever-composed leading man with a reputation for privacy, was seen entering a boutique fragrance store. Dressed simply in a black hoodie, cap pulled low, his presence was unmistakable even in understatement. A fan, unsure at first, caught a glimpse, raised her phone, and within minutes, the first image made its way to Douyin. His posture, his stillness, the quiet confidence in his walk, there was something magnetic even in his solitude. Just 40 minutes later, across the same shopping complex, Zhao Lusi appeared. She wasn't there for leisure, but for a soft launch tied to a new lifestyle brand collaboration. She arrived with her signature grace, elegant, poised, and glowing. Those in attendance remarked not only on her beauty but on the way she carried herself, as though time itself slowed around her. She smiled for a few press cameras, offered kind words to a young designer, and then left discreetly, her presence lingering like the final note of a song you didn't want to end. They never met, least not visibly, but their timing was close, uncannily close. Same mall, same afternoon, 2 stars with shared history, footsteps apart, yet just out of frame from one another. The idea of them being in the same place, perhaps passing in parallel without knowing, stirred something in fans, something tender, like watching a missed connection play out in real time. There were no paparazzi shots of the 2 together. No formal reunion. Just a quiet coincidence, one that spoke volumes. Because sometimes it's not the collision that captures our attention but the nearness, the potential, the almost. And in that space, imagination takes over, and stories begin to bloom. Stories of what could have been, and perhaps what still might be. The internet didn't need an official announcement to turn a fleeting coincidence into a moment worth remembering. When word spread that Yang and Zhao Lusi had been spotted at the same mall on the same afternoon, just moments and meters apart, fans around the world reacted not with frenzy, but with a strangely unified kind of longing. It wasn't scandal they were searching for or gossip. What they truly wanted was something softer, more human. A single frame, a shared glance, a sign that 2 people who once lit up screens together might still be moving in the same orbit. Across social media, messages poured in, first in Mandarin, then in Korean, Thai, Japanese, Tagalog, French, Indonesian, and English. Language was no barrier. The emotion was universal. People from all walks of life, different countries and cultures, found themselves moved by the possibility of something more behind this silent near encounter. Some users posted gentle pleas. Just 1 photo together, that's all we need. Others turned to art, crafting digital portraits, imagined reunions, and collages that placed the 2 stars side by side. Not in a mall, but on a movie set, under autumn trees at a late-night cafe. It wasn't just the drama of what if that captivated them. It was what these 2 represented when together. Chemistry without effort, warmth without performance, connection without noise. For fans who followed them since their days on screen in Who Rules the World, the idea of seeing them together again was less about romance or celebrity, and more about the rare magic that only certain people can create when they simply exist in the same space. Some began writing stories, short scenes where the 2 cross paths in an elevator, or recognize each other from afar but say nothing. Others recorded soft-spoken voiceovers layered over imagined encounters, accompanied by piano covers and muted visuals. The fan response wasn't loud or sensational. It was intimate, delicate, reflective. It was the kind of reaction that speaks to emotional memory rather than viral moments. In an online world that often moves fast and forgets faster, this moment lingered. Not because of what happened, but because of what didn't. And sometimes the silence between two people can echo louder than any headline. As the dust settled and the initial wave of excitement gave way to quiet curiosity, a new layer of conversation began to form, one filled not with speculation for scandal, but with wonder about timing, intent, and quiet possibility. For some, it was nothing more than coincidence. Two high-profile stars attending to separate engagements in the same location. Nothing unusual, nothing worth reading into. But for many, especially those who had followed Yang and Zhao Lusi through their shared on-screen journey, the details were too aligned, too precise, too poetic to be dismissed as chance. Theories began to surface, soft, almost whispered across digital spaces. Some fans noted the alignment of their schedules, pointing out that both actors had recently wrapped up individual projects and were entering periods of relative quiet. Others observed that the brands involved in each of their appearances had previously collaborated under the same corporate parent, suggesting the possibility of overlapping invitations, or at the very least, industry proximity. A smaller group, more reserved in tone but just as engaged, began to reflect on the silence between the two since the end of Who Rules the World? No interviews together, no events, no shared updates, just absence. And yet, absence often leaves room for interpretation. Some saw it as a boundary, professional distance preserved with care. Others saw it as a space, an intentional pause, one that protects what might still be personal. What made this moment feel significant wasn't confirmation of anything romantic or dramatic, but the sense that something unfinished still lingered. Whether it was a friendship unspoken, a mutual respect guarded from public eyes, or even a quiet affection never named, no one could be certain. But the beauty of that uncertainty was that it allowed room for meaning. And meaning, as fans know well, doesn't always require proof. Perhaps the real question wasn't did they plan it? But what if they didn't have to? What if fate moves in smaller gestures? Shared space, familiar sense, parallel footsteps in the same hall. In an industry built on perfect timing and controlled appearances, it was the softness of this almost encounter that resonated most. Not a declaration, not even a hint, just proximity. And sometimes that's enough to reopen the story fans never stopped hoping to finish. At the heart of all the online excitement, beyond the hashtags and edited photos, lies something far more personal. Something not driven by celebrity obsession or shallow fantasy, but by a collective emotional memory. What fans truly want is not a spectacle. It's not gossip, not confirmation of secret meetings, and not even a public reunion. What they're longing for is something subtler, more sincere. A sense of continuity, of emotional closure, or perhaps the renewal of something once shared that meant more than just entertainment. When Yang and Zhao Lusi first appeared together on screen, they brought to life a connection that felt effortless, natural, and unforced. For many viewers, it wasn't just the plot that stayed with them. It was the feeling, the chemistry, the unspoken moments that felt more real than scripted. That kind of connection is rare. It lingers long after the final episode ends. And when it disappears from view, it leaves behind a quiet space in people's hearts. It's that space fans are responding to now. A silent yearning, not for more drama, but for something genuine to return. Their almost encounter at the mall ignited that feeling again. Not because they were together, but because they almost were. That almost carried with it a rush of possibilities. Could they still be in touch? Do they still remember those shared days? Have they quietly held on to that bond away from the noise? Fans aren't asking for a confession or a new show. They're not demanding headlines. What they want is more delicate than that. They want to believe that real connections don't just vanish when the cameras stop rolling. They want to know that warmth, mutual respect, and emotional truth can survive beyond the screen. In a world saturated with surface-level content, the idea of something sincere, unspoken yet enduring, feels like a gift. In this quiet, collective wish lies something universal. Whether we live in Tokyo, Paris, Seoul, or Los Angeles, we understand what it means to hope for a reconnection. Not for closure, but for the simple joy of knowing that something once beautiful might still live on, even if only in parallel lines. And sometimes that hope is more powerful than any plot twist a writer could invent. In a beautiful twist, a group of international fans is now launching a one-frame challenge, inviting artists, editors, and storytellers to create imagined moments of Yang Yang and Zhao Lusi reuniting. Whether it's a fictional cafe encounter, a movie premiere handshake, or even an animated short, fans across the Philippines, Japan, France, Indonesia, and the US are bringing their imagination to life. This movement isn't just about the stars. It's about community, about creativity, and about celebrating the joy these two actors brought into people's lives. In a world that moves too fast, maybe what we need isn't always the perfect picture. Sometimes it's the story of the picture that almost happened. And just maybe, that's even more powerful. Speech Balloon, what do you think? Was it fate, coincidence, or something in between? If this story moved you, made you smile, or sparked a bit of hope, please consider subscribing to Update X24H. We're here to bring you heartfelt updates, trending stories, and emotional moments that matter. Not just to fans in Asia, but to all of us around the world. Movie Camera, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next, almost moment, that could become history. From Seoul to Sydney, Toronto to Tokyo, thank you for being here with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and stay inspired.